Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight at 5:30. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz here at the desk with meteorologist Ortiz because we are seeing some extreme temperatures out there and there's no sign of a break.
Yeah, so I talked about yesterday how we've been in the last month and a half or so, we've had several weeks where we were in a long period of what's considered a heat wave for us. And
it's just felt like one big heat.
It's like it's never gone. We've had like brief days where we get some relief, but then we go right back to the extreme temperatures. And I say that because it's a little bit abnormally warmer compared to, normal. So 101 was our high today, actually, this afternoon. And on average, we should be sitting in the low 90s. We haven't really been near average. We've been well above that for quite some time the last several weeks. Nowhere near the record, though, of 109, though. But we're going to be slowly creeping on up later this week. We're sitting at 98 right now here in the metro, but still many locations are in the triple digits still this evening, like in Fort Smith, 103. We're seeing some brief relief. Some rain showers are going to be making its way on through later this evening, seeing some isolated activity in portions of northern Arkansas. Some of those can produce some strong to severe storms later tonight, but not for everybody. We'll start to see more of that rain chance increase as we go into the overnight hours for us here in central portions of the state. But I'll have a better timeline of that and how hot we can get in the upcoming week in your forecast coming up.
And as just mentioned, this week we'll be seeing some of that extreme heat. So while many of you might still be heading out to enjoy the outdoors of the natural state and braving these temperatures, with them sticking around, it's important to know that the effect the sun can have on your body can be pretty strong. Here's THV 11's Frederick Price.
In the middle of summer, biking, running, any outdoor activity doesn't stop for some. But doing them in the extreme heat could result in a dangerous outcome.
Trying to push yourself to do things in a hot situation raises your heart rate.
Dr. Robert Hopkins with UAMS says an overexposure to sun goes far beyond just a simple sunburn.
The heat can lead us to have elevated blood pressure, clotting. It can cause kidney damage from dehydration.
Long periods outside allows for things like heat exhaustion or even a heat stroke to happen. Oftentimes people are confused with the two, so Hopkins says it's important to know the difference. Let's start with heat exhaustion.
You're outside, you're working hard in the heat, you're sweating very heavily.
He says that means your body is simply overheating.
You may develop a little nausea, dizziness, headache, sometimes a fast pulse.
After some time, those symptoms become more severe and develop into a heat stroke.
You can develop high body temperature, confusion, and even pass out.
A heat stroke, he adds, is considered a medical emergency. Of course, drinking water is recommended, but Dr. Hopkins says consider drinking other fluids to maintain the salts our bodies need.
Drink a can of tomato juice. That replaces the salts that you're losing.
He also recommends avoiding any sports drinks as they contain a lot of sugar. And finally, limit the amount of time you are outside.
Make sure that we're not staying out in the sun, out in the heat for long periods of time without breaks, because that just puts us at risk.
In Little Rock, Frederick Price, THV 11 News.
And to avoid heat illness, Dr. Hopkins also suggested that people avoid activities during those peak hours in midday, that they wear light-colored clothing and exercise with a buddy. With all of this heat, the Arkansas Forestry Commission is warning that any outdoor fire could get out of control and fast. They say all Arkansans should stay aware in this weather. Something as small as parking a car in tall grass or throwing a cigarette butt out the window could be the spark that causes a wildfire. Hours ago, one of our staff members, Martha Myrick, actually captured smoke from a fire burning along Interstate 430. That's what you just saw there, southbound. So definitely be careful this summer. And if you see anything of concern, report it to authorities. But this map right now, for a better understanding of where we are in the state, take a close look. This afternoon, 7 more counties in southwest Arkansas have been upgraded to a high threat of wildfire danger. This includes Hempstead, Miller, Nevada, Lafayette, Columbia, Washita, and Union counties. So you're definitely going to want to stay aware this summer. Families who lost loved ones in the Uvalde school massacre met today with members of the Texas House Committee investigating the incident. Now, we want to warn you that some of the video you're about to see is disturbing. Elise Preston has the report.
Surveillance video from inside Robb Elementary School shows officers waited 77 minutes before moving in to take out the shooter on May 24th. Now, a new report by the Texas House Committee investigating the shooting finds there were 376 officers on scene, local, state, and federal, lacking clear leadership and basic communications, prioritizing their own safety over saving innocent lives. The 3 members of the investigating committee released their findings Sunday in a meeting with families of the victims, 19 students and 2 teachers. Their 77-page report found the shooter fired about 100 rounds in the first 3 minutes, so it's likely many victims died quickly. But the report suggests some could have survived if they had not had to wait so long for rescue.
They're a joke. They got no business wearing a badge.
Vincent Salazar is the grandfather of 4th grader Layla Salazar. He got his report but did not stay for the meeting, deeply suspicious of the investigation that has been marred by false statements from public officials.
Everybody's covering up for everybody else.
So far, much of the blame has been put on Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo for his role as incident commander. But investigators suggest there were plenty of better trained and better equipped officers who could have and should have stepped up. The report also found the school had a culture of complacency when it came to safeguarding those inside. Investigators say multiple witnesses testified employees often left doors unlocked or used rocks to prop them open. Regarding the 18-year-old shooter, investigators found he was a high school dropout, had been fired from 2 jobs, and was given the nickname School Shooter by his friends. Elise Preston, CBS News.
All right, we have more headlines just ahead. Now, everyone has a story, but not everyone gets an equal chance to have that story told. Well, a legendary voice is getting her spotlight back in about 3 minutes. Corrales?
Well, I know a lot of us tend to be adjusted to the summer weather here, but it's going to be extremely hot for this upcoming week, possibly seeing the hottest stretch of weather we've had so far for the season. I'll talk about that and what's in store as we go into your evening ahead coming up.